DJ, go.
Hello friends, it's DJ again here for Race 2 of the CTC Semifinal, featuring my team, Apex Hunter Racing, versus the lovely folks with Race Asylum. Now, if you haven't already seen Race 1, check out the link in the description or the link in the top right-hand corner of the video. Because you've seen this combo already, you don't need to see qualifying. So we're going to jump right into some pre-race action, where you can see that a familiar foe has appeared once again on my rear bumper. That's right, it's Penelope yet again. My arch nemesis from Race 1, who had a heck of a battle with me, is back. I'm starting this race in P5. I don't really like grid starts, especially ones that aren't staggered, but at least here I have the inside line, whereas last race I was in P2 and on the outside. Should help me in the beginning take advantage of the inside line and gain the position over Penelope in the beginning. You can see on pole is Dan, who got pole position by 4 1/1000ths of a second. Pole and fastest lap are so powerful in this league right now. That is a bonus 5 points. I knew that I lost pole in the first race, but Dan getting it essentially negates Race Asylum if they get the fastest lap. We were only ahead by a few points, and so every point, every position matters. You can see the top 6 staggered, AHR, Race Asylum, and it was just an incredibly close race. And before I say any more, let's get to the start and let's get this thing going. All right, we're on the grid. We've qualified well. Can we finish the job? Lights are on, waiting for the green. No false starts. And we're off. I get a decent start. Penelope comes over and gives me a little love tap, try and make space in the middle, see if we can park it on the apex. We try and get around, and we get slammed from behind, a little friendly bump that gets us in front of Penelope and next to King Ears, and we are off. Now, I've got bumper damage, which slows me down just a little bit, so I'm just going to get in the toe of King Ears and try and follow behind and hopefully not lose too much time as 2 of my teammates are starting to pull away into the distance here. Brake a little bit early so we don't run into King Ears. We don't know what tires King Ears is on, but we do know it's impossible to pass here as the damage will be up any moment now. We brake a little early. We're just trying to take it easy. We don't want to make the situation worse. I know that with the top 5 the way it is, my team stands a very, very good chance of going on to the final. I know I have the faster strategy. As King Ears makes a mistake, I think about going around the outside, but I just play it safe. Would have been hard to pass around the outside there, so instead of potentially ruining my race 1.5 minutes in or 1 minute in, we're just going to stay behind, keep it going. While we come down the mountain, I want to take a moment to talk about the strategy of the race from here. So we know I'm going 7 laps on the mediums, 7 laps on the softs. Now, there were a number of Race Asylum folks who did not save fuel at all. So with that in mind, I know there may be some places and time to make up in the pits. As I try to apply pressure, I scrape the wall just a little bit and don't get the run out of the corner, which means Penelope is going to be threatening me here at the end of the straight. But I do know if I just keep it clean, or at least clean enough, I will be able to make up some time in the pits like I did last race. Unless the Race Asylum folks altered their strategy based on what we did, especially what I did, almost going solo through 7 laps. As Penelope looks like she's going to try and take down the inside. I give her space, but she ends up backing out. I think I left enough space there. It's hard to say, but I am under attack. Penelope looks around the outside. I'm going to have to go defensive just like last race. I brake. She tries to go around the outside. I try to leave space, and she ends up going off the track, maybe bumping the wall. I look back to see what happened. I thought maybe I left enough space. It was about half a car length there in the tarmac as Clarky is going to go down the inside and go around me. I know I'm on the medium. I don't know what Clarky is on in terms of tires, but we're going to try and go on the attack here. But Clarky is now going defensive. Clarky, a very, very talented driver in his own right. Whole bunch of talented drivers in here. It was a lot of fun doing this race. I'm going to try and hang it around the outside, but I get it slightly wrong and slide the car, and Clarky takes the position easily. And so now it's just a matter of not conceding more positions to Wabbit, who is behind me and under attack from my teammates' slide rules. So the race is strung out just a little bit here. Let's just try and put our head down and keep things as they are. The whole thing with Penelope, it was a really, really tough thing. I tried to consciously leave space. I know the car can handle 2 wheels on the curb and on the grass, having taken that line many times. That one might have been my bad. But in any case, when I was driving, I was like, well, I don't know if that was my fault. I tried to leave space. I'm just going to leave it up to the stewards afterward and keep going. It was fringe enough for me to not wait, especially because I was on the inside, and it was a really, really tough thing for me to do. But I just decided, you know what, I'll let the stewards figure it out afterward. If I'm in the wrong, I'll accept that. I won't argue or anything. But in any case, we are back right on Clarkie's bumper. Same thing applies. I know that I will probably gain a couple seconds if I can just keep it close with these two and gain some time in the pits. Fast forward ahead to the end of the lap, you can see I'm in a 3-car race asylum sandwich. I go defensive thinking Penelope's going to make a move on me as Clarkie passes King Ears. I stay tight to the apex. I get a little friendly bump from Penelope coming out of the corner. I'm going to try and make a move on King Ears. King Ears goes defensive. I go to the outside. I'm going to try and hang it around the outside, and this time I get it right. King Ears gives me space, fantastic racing, and now Penelope's coming up. Now there's no bump drafting allowed, and Penelope's trying to wedge herself in between the two of us, but I'm not giving any room, absolutely not, and so King Ears ends up backing out. I maybe get a little bit of a boost from Penelope, and now I'm in front of the two of them. Penelope looks to the inside, but I don't give her any room. I don't think she had a nose in or anything, and she backs out. And now I am in P5 where I started behind Clarkie. I have managed to gain 1 position, and now we're going to chase Clarkie up the hill, but I also have to keep an eye behind me as Penelope is a very, very talented driver and is going to definitely be on the attack if the opportunity arises. And unfortunately for me, the opportunity is going to come sooner rather than later. We go around the first of the scary left-handers, and then we go over the crest of the second left-hander here as we get ready to descend the mountain, and Penelope is right behind me, and it looks like she's going to go for a move, but perhaps traumatized from our last encounter at the top of the hill, she backs out, and we come down the hill here one more time. There's still 24 minutes left in this race, and again, I am under attack by Penelope. It's like the two of us are just entwined in this race. We get onto the Conrad straight. I don't get a great run, but Penelope scrapes the wall a little bit behind me. So we're going to have a little bit of breathing room as we come down the Conrad straight. I have a quick look behind to see just how far back she is. Now we're going to plan, what can we do? I'm on the medium tire. I don't know what tire Penelope's on. I don't know what tire Clarkie's on. It's just a matter of surviving until I can maybe make up some time in the pits. Hard on the brakes here. Get down into third, just try and keep it clean. Penelope makes up some more time. We go down into the final corner, 1 by 1. Now we turn on to what I would call the front stretch anyway, and Penelope's made up a couple tenths. I feel like I'm driving slow. Penelope is all over me here. We go into turn 1, decent lap for me at 2:07.1 on the mediums. Penelope makes a run out of the corner. I elect to go defensive instead of getting in the toe of Clarkie, and Penelope is going to get a run and the toe, and Penelope goes right on by. I can't defend this. Now, I did not get over to the right like I probably should have. I kept the defensive line, and Penelope is up into P5, and I have fallen down into P6. Now my role changes from here. I need to stay near these two. They might be on a softer tire, they might be faster than me, it doesn't matter. This track, if I can just stay near them, I will be going on the soft tire and I will gain time in the pits with fuel. So it's just about, don't stress, just keep it clean, do your best. And this kind of racing that I had with Clarkie and King Ears and Penelope, this is what makes Gran Turismo so good. This is what makes Gran Turismo one of the best racing experiences there is. You know, yes, maybe it's not iRacing or ACC, but you can just pick up and race people like this in these leagues, and if you bump each other, it's not the end of your race, or you're not catapulted into the sun for a minor mistake. It's one of the things that makes Gran Turismo great. But what isn't great is what's about to happen to me here at the top of the mountain. You can see that Clarkie and Penelope have gotten away a little bit. I come in a little hot to this first little section and lose control, but I manage to keep it pointed in the right direction. I don't lose a ton of time, and I manage to not have any damage. This is one of those things where it's a medium mistake, but I managed to keep it together. And when you have these moments, you cannot let it affect any more than that moment. And fortunately, we have this long straight here to breathe, gather your thoughts, reset. You're only a second, 1.1 seconds behind Clarkey. You can still gain time in the pits, not a major time loss, and pit road is open. We will see what other teams do as we come to the pits here. I imagine most folks will probably, if they're on a harder compound, will wait one more lap before they go on to the softs if they have the fuel. As we jump ahead to the end of lap 6, you can see that Dan is pitting, and he told us pre-race he didn't care about fuel saving, so he went from P1 to the pits first. You can see that Penelope is in the pits, and she was on the soft tire, which is very interesting, but also interesting, Pup and Clarkey are going around for a 7th lap each, so clearly they figured out that you were able to fuel save pretty well in the Focus, so that puts us up to P4 temporarily. Can we gain any time at all on Clarkey to pass him in the pits? As we jump ahead to the end of the 7th lap, the answer to that is no, not really. We didn't really gain or lose any time, but now we have to come in as Belfast Bap comes in, as Pup comes in, as Clarkey comes in. They were all on the soft tire. I was on the medium tire, and I saved a little bit of fuel. Belfast Bap actually threw away his first race so that he could go soft in this race to try and secure the win. I'm not worried about him at all. I think he's going to drive away with it. He was extremely fast here. But I get to go on the soft tire, and potentially Pup and Clarkey will be on a harder compound of tire, which means I can go on the attack and potentially gain a position for my team. And as we fast forward to exiting the pits, check this out. Clarkey has put in a little bit of extra fuel, and I've come out in front of both him and Penelope. So here we go again. I am under attack by the same two people that have been on my bumpers the entire race. We are over halfway done with the race, and now I have to play defense once again in the second half of a race, but this time I'm on the soft tire instead of the hard tire, and I have someone in front of me that I can try and chase down. However, it will still be extremely difficult, and to prove just how difficult it is to pass here, we're going to use a mistake I make. Get into the wall here. Clarkey gets the run, but there is nowhere for him to go, and he is forced to sit behind me. There is nothing he can do about it. As we come down the mountain for the 8th time this race, nowhere to go. I've got my sights set on Pup. I want an AHR sweep of the podium. Can I get up to Pup and challenge for P3? We're going to jump ahead a lap, and you can see the gaps to me and Pup and me and Clarkey have not really changed, but I do want to point out something about this section of the course. I was exceedingly slow through this part of the course and turn 1. Race Asylum had part of this course figured out that I did not. I was losing tenths upon tenths upon tenths to them every single lap. Now, I might have gained it back on the mountain, but right there, I was abysmal. Pup is now 2.1 seconds and climbing after being 1.6 seconds away headed into the final sector. You can see I was just getting it all kinds of wrong. And before I worry about catching up to Pup, I have to worry about the guy behind me who is slowly closing into 2.5 tenths here as we go into this tricky part of the course. I think the pressure got to me here just a little bit, because as I go around this left-hander, I unsettle the car and get it a little wrong and slide my tires. And I'll have you know this is very important later on in the race. I overheated the tires. Tire wear is pretty bad on these cars, and so you'll see a little nudge of the wall. I'm pushing. I am pushing. I know Clarkey is fast. You know, we AHR folks talk amongst ourselves all the time about members of other teams and you know how good they are and things like that. And Clarkey was a name that's come up a lot just from talking with folks in Race Asylum and other AHR folks, that Clarkey is very fast. And so now I'm having to defend myself from someone who's very fast. It is very difficult, and it is something that you can get caught up in thinking about, the gap has increased a little bit to 9/10. But as we get to the end of the Conrad Straight again, you'll see what I mean. My advantage here disappears in this sector. What was once a 9/10 advantage is now down to under 6/10. And as we fast forward to the top of the mountain, it's down to less than 2/10. Coming over the top of the hill, the second left-hander that is oh so scary before we start going down the mountain. Lead increases to just a little over 2/10, and it looks like Clarkie backs off just a little bit to give me a little bit of room. This part of the track is so scary. It's easy to make a mistake and lose gobs of time. We head on to the Conrad Straight. I gain a little bit of a gap over Clarkie, but really it's not all that much, and I know that I'm not great at this last section. When you're under attack like this, or someone is right behind you for laps upon laps upon laps, it's really difficult to maintain your focus on the track the entire time. And as we jump ahead a lap, you'll see Clarkie is still there. Not only is Clarkie still there, but Clarkie has two teammates behind him, and I have no idea how far behind they are from Clarkie. I do take a quick peek back. Looks like it was just him, but it was only a very brief look. Hard to tell. Here we go, the penultimate lap. Clarkie half a second behind. My right front is very, very worn out. And when I slid a few laps ago, it may have worn the tire a little bit more than Clarkie's tire. 2 more laps. My pace has been pretty solid, only a few tenths off the fastest lap. Can I hold it down for 2 more laps while I am under constant pressure from Clarkie as we climb the mountain? I get to the top of the mountain, I make an unusual decision to try and carry more speed, and my worn right front can't handle it, and I go off the track, which results in a penalty. Oh, you can see it on my face. I know. 2 laps to go, and I have run out of defense. I have made the mistake that I had tried so hard to avoid. And with just 1 more lap after this one, I know my race is up. At least with Clarkie. So Clarkie goes on by after the penalty. I see Penelope is way, way, way back in the distance. And so I know I have to go on the attack here with a driver that, for what it's worth, is definitely better than me at this combo. He was on my back bumper for 5 laps. Since lap 8, he was right behind me, and you can see the gap just grows and grows and grows slowly. 1 more lap to go. I have kind of resigned myself, especially running wide there, that P5 will be where I end up finishing, but not without my 2 teammates, Belfast Bap and Dan, finishing P1 and 2 with the fastest lap. We have my teammate Bob, who's moved up into P7. I'm feeling pretty good about my team's chances of going on to the final. And as we fast forward to the final lap, the end of the race, you can see I closed the gap on Clarkie just a little, but not enough to make an attack on the position. I just want to show you a little thing about me. At the end of the race, I'm pretty confident we moved on, but I'm not sitting there thinking, woohoo, we're going to the final. No, I'm thinking, dang, how could I give that position up? I just try to show a little bit of the human aspect, the competitive aspect of things. But as I pull up the scorecards for both races 1 and 2, you can see we had a big victory over Race Asylum in race 2, and we are going to the final against Tidgney Community Racing, possibly also including Tidgney himself in the race. Like, are you kidding me? I have, less than 100 subscribers. I have watched so many of Tidgney's videos and been in his streams and all this stuff. And now I get the chance to race against the man himself. That is so cool. I will have a preview of the final before we go on to it in a couple of weeks. I am really, really, really excited for the opportunity for my team, Apex Hunter Racing. And I say my team, I mean us as a whole, my team, my teammates, everybody who made this possible, who has made this possible over the last 6 months or so, 6 to 8 months. I really could not have done this without them. I have some incredible, incredible teammates, and I cannot wait for the Gran Turismo community to see my teammates as we go on against one of Gran Turismo's very most favorite content creators. But I know the lads won't be starstruck. We will be ready to go, and hopefully we will put on a good show for you. That's it for part 2 of the semifinal series against the folks at Race Asylum. I had some incredible racing with them, specifically Clarky and Penelope. Huge shout outs to them. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There will be more iRacing and Gran Turismo content coming down the pipeline soon. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya!